We're gonna start this all over again, ladies. So don't worry, it's just 7:01. Good evening. I am Dr. Helen, founder and chief engagement officer of Dr. Helen Holton and Associates, where we work with women like you to help you come into your own, to be the best you that you are, to live your best life ever. And why do we do that? Because it's important. It's important to you that you might be the best you that you can be. And I've got some phenomenal guests with me this evening because this show, we focus on strengths, resilience, and leadership. At the end of the day, these are the things that help leaders rise. But what I've known and developed over the years of a proven innovative system that I came up with to help particularly women, leaders like you, to leverage your strengths, the best of who you are. And it begins with understanding and knowing who that is for you. Then to understand and manage your weaknesses. And we all have them, ladies. We all have them. And lastly, to build your resilience. You know, when I was growing up, I remember there was a saying in my family's church, and you know, I'd hear the mothers of the church saying it. Oh, child, you know, those new levels bring new devils. And 4 simple words have made such a difference in understanding and experiencing that as you move to new levels in whatever you choose to do as a leader, yes, you're going to confront newer challenges, newer fears, and frustrations along the way. But stick with us here because at Dr. Helen Speaks, we talk about strengths, resilience, and leadership. So now I want to get to introducing my guests that are with us this evening. Let me go back to Leah Brown and Yaya, the assistant front office manager here at the Steinbergen, has just been phenomenal. And as I said to everyone earlier, we would not be here this evening without him and the excellent service that his staff have provided to help us be here this evening. Thank you so very much. So let me go back to our guests for the evening. And I want to start with, drum roll, ladies, I want to start with Leah Brown. Leah comes to us from Louisiana. Woohoo, Louisiana, NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana. Leah Brown is manager of corporate affairs for Chevron Gulf of Mexico business unit. Yes, and she is kicking tails and taking no names. But at this Fortune 500 global company, Leah manages a team of 6 people. Now, in a Fortune 500 company, I guarantee you, if she's got 6 to lead, they got a whole lot to be accountable for, and she's seeing and making things happen. They cover functions ranging from internal and external communications, corporate social responsibility, to issues management and advocacy. Now, here's a woman who started out in life as a chemist. Along the way, became an educator, dabbled a little bit in government and public affairs, and now she finds herself in corporate communications. Wow, what a path to leadership. Next, I want to go to Joy Grady. Joy Grady will always have a very special place in my heart because we're streaming this show live from Egypt because I am participating in Joy's, as she said to me, side hustle. I love it. Women, think about those of you sitting on the fence about taking that leap into entrepreneurship. And I assure you, it is a leap. And the best way to do it successfully is to be prepared, to understand the best of who you are, your weaknesses, to understand they're never going to be your strengths, and building your resilience. But Joy comes to us as president of Vision Plan Results, Viper, I love that name, LLC. Joy transitioned 20 plus years in corporate positions in finance, sales, marketing, project management, she's done it all. But it was in her volunteer service as a regional director in Jack and Jill of America that awakened her true passion for planning exceptional events. And Our being here in Egypt is one of those exceptional events, so it's just been a blast. But with her primary role as CEO of Viper, extending that excellence beyond corporate and nonprofit clients, she launched her side hustle, planning exotic faraway trips around the world to places like Dubai, Greece, and Egypt. So you want to stay tuned to see where Viper's going to next. And then our last guest for the evening is DeAndrea Walker. DeAndrea is Director of Public Works for Baltimore County, Maryland, in the USA. Now, that might sound like, okay, so what's the big deal? The big deal is that DeAndrea is a history maker for women. She is the first woman and the first person of color, an African American, to hold this coveted post. But she comes here with 20 years experience in local, state, and federal government. She's held leadership positions ranging from National Field Secretary and Special Projects Manager for the NAACP. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. But she's gone on to be chief of staff positions, deputy secretary positions, deputy administration positions, to now heading the largest agency in Baltimore County's government, managing a budget of close to $1 billion, around 900 million, would you say, DeAndrea? And a staff of over 950 people. That's a woman leader who's rising. Ladies and gentlemen, and there's always one or two, we're so glad to have you. These are our guests for this evening. And so why don't we just jump right in? Ladies, I'm going to begin with the first question. Give some thought to, just one now, because you cannot reach the positions you're holding in life without having more than one. But share with us one challenge, fear, or frustration that kept you from moving forward in life. And can you unmute yourself?
I think I'm unmuted. Well, I'll share with you one I would say that I've had over the one challenge of believing that I wasn't enough when I stood next to others who had resumes as my resume, but for some reason or another, because of where I came from, I didn't believe I was enough. That was one challenge I needed to get over, understanding that you've done the hard work. You've sowed, you've plowed, you've put in the effort. So you deserve to be at the location in which you are. That was one challenge that I needed to understand, that I've done the work. I deserve to be in the position that I'm in.
Love it. Thank you, DeAndrea. Leah or Joy? Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, can you unmute?
Yes, now I am. Thank you. So I would say one area for me that was a challenge was similar to DeAndrea, just making sure, are you really ready? Do you really want to lead people? Are you in that position? Do you have a vision? What is that vision? And it just took me at one point still and really say, you do have a vision. You know what you can do this. And then moving forward, that power.
Leah. Hold on. Hold on. You know this technology. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Hold on. Well,
Okay. Now, we know it's a meeting when we have a technology opportunity. So thank you for having me, Helen. I thought that was a ploy to keep the corporate affairs person quiet for a little while. So I appreciate that.
no, you have too much to share with us, my dear.
And so for that question, I kind of thought about it in a different way, right? I don't know if I necessarily ever saw things as challenges, more so as trade-offs. So with all things, there's always an opportunity cost or a trade-off. And as I've kind of gone through my career, I try to always evaluate what are the trade-offs here. So not necessarily like anything that would limit you or a good or a bad, but just appreciating if you were willing to make that trade-off or, you know, accept whatever that opportunity cost might be.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So you've all shared one challenge, fear, or frustration you've experienced in your professional career on your rise to leaders, the leaders that you are. How did you handle it? What got you through it?
I would
Joy?
say faith in my abilities, confidence that I am prepared. I have education. I have a good support network. I have a wonderful husband, a wonderful family that have told me, we support you, do what you want to do.
Hey, and I love that, Joy, because that gets into some of what it takes when we're talking about building resilience, that safety net, that support system around you, that they're really in your corner. It's like your private cheerleading squad. It's saying, yay, do it. That, yeah, I love it. Thank you. Leah, DeAndrea.
Okay. I would just offer that I've always tried to appreciate that I am where I'm supposed to be and having more of a look forward versus a look back attitude, you know, about different decisions or things, you know, that have transpired throughout my career, you know. So, you know, I can't really do anything about yesterday, but I can do a lot about today. And I can do a lot about tomorrow. So really putting more energy into forward planning versus looking behind.
Love it. DeAndrea.
I would say, as Joyce said, my family plays a large role in me being able to get over the hurdles of every day. But I will also say that it's important for me to put strong women, other leaders around me as well. I will say that the opportunity to be able to build a team that able to reflect your values and your persistence and customer service has been phenomenal for me. And it made me look like a success, but it made our team look like a success as a whole. I got some dynamic women who work for me in Baltimore County. I have some dynamic work for me, previous governors and the previous county executives. And even those strong personalities, those strong women who believe in what they do every day only made me look better along the way.
I love that. You know, I usually begin at every show asking, do you get to do what you love every day? And that's a powerful question to think about. And, audience, I want you to write that question down for yourself. Do I get to do what I do best every day? And I want you to just marinate on that question some, because it begins the process of helping your brain to think more of what you want for your life. But if you don't stop and take the time to explore it, you'll never get to it. Now, each of you have talked about and shared ways in which you have gotten through that one challenge, fear, or frustration. And that's phenomenal, because building resilience doesn't happen subconsciously. It does and it doesn't. Subconsciously, you may go through a challenge, a fear or frustration and get to the other side and never give much thought. But what did I do that got me through? On a conscious level, because what happens is you begin to create that pathway so that the next time a challenge, fear, or frustration confronts you, you got some tools in your purse that you can use to leverage the best of who you are. But it begins with knowing, who am I when I show up as my best self? So if you faced that same challenge, fear, or frustration today, what would you do different than what you did then to get through? Little twist there.
What would I do different? I would say I would go in with my eyes wide open. I think in some instances, going into my career, specifically public works, it's a male-dominated industry. It's a non-African-American male-dominated industry. I think I would go in with my eyes a little bit wider than they were, and being a little bit more confident in what I bring to the table in terms of being able to deliver and stand next to those who in the past have been able to deliver. I think my one shortfall, my one weakness was that feeling like I was less than. I was never less than. It was just that inner little girl in me that needed to be able to say, I can do this just like the next person. So I think what I would do different was have my eyes wide open and a stronger belief that I'm ready, I'm capable to deliver.
All right. Thank you, DeAndrea. Leah, Joy.
I think I wish I would have recognized the ability to look at how can I versus can't earlier in my career. So sometimes it's just a matter of how you are looking at things and taking that I can't into, no, it's not that you can't, you can if. And older me recognizes that. I wish younger me saw those same kinds of opportunities or had that perspective.
Yeah. Joy.
Well, I'd have to say, for me, I don't believe in regrets. I think that everything happens for a reason, for its time and place, and that every experience I've gone through helped me get or make me stronger for the next step ahead. So I can't say that there's anything that I would say I would do differently because it happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Love it. Love it. So ladies at home and gentlemen, I hope you're listening. I do inclusion work and diversity work, but there's some truths that when you hear them, they're just truths. They aren't about he said, she said, or anything. It's about life. It's about, as I always say, what it boils down to is engagement. How engaged are you with the people that you encounter? Not just in the workplace, but in your life. How much time does it take to say hello to a stranger? That can begin a conversation. That can be the pathway to that next opportunity you've been working and waiting and planning to have happen. Now, there are no guarantees that that's going to be your plight, but there's a common thread between us all, and not just the human race. No, there's a common thread that I believe, and I think there's enough science and evidence that supports it, that we were created as relational beings. And so finding the opportunities to connect, to build those relationships. And we as women have a way of doing that that's different than men, and no deference to how men bond and do what they do. But I can't speak for that. I can speak for, as a woman, what it means to bond and to find that connection to leverage what you do. So I have one final question for you ladies. And please, anytime you have, please jump in here. it's as much about you giving as receiving. What would you tell your 20-something self today from a powerful lesson you've learned at this stage in your life? You need that question again?
What would I tell my 20-something lesson?
What would you tell your 20-something self today from a powerful lesson you've learned?
You know, Dr. Helen, I'd have to go back a little bit further for you.
Okay, it's all good.
What would I tell my 17-year-old self? Because most people probably don't know, 17 years old in the projects, teenage mom, you're gonna be okay.
Mm.
That's what I would tell her.
And so what lesson in life have you had that would make that something that you want to tell yourself at 17? Think about it. Think about it. Because I want you to capture that moment. That's a powerful moment of you being the best of who you are. If you want to tell yourself that at 17 or 20, what made that lesson learned so powerful for you? Leah, Joy?
Well, I guess I probably cheated on this one a little bit because I spoke a bit about what I would tell the younger me, not knowing that that was going to be posed to us. So I'll think of something else. And I actually have an almost 20-something. So there are lots of things that I tell her. One that stands out is to whom much is given, much is required. And so that's a really powerful lesson that I wish I'd maybe appreciated earlier. All of us are where we are because we're standing on the shoulders of others, and we have a responsibility to ensure that we're always reaching back. So, you know, just making sure that I instill in her that practice early, so that when she reaches her goals, she understands that you have that responsibility, even as you're on your way to going there, because there's always someone that you can help on their journey.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Leah. Now, Leah, I might call you. I'm at Tap Joy.
I would say be prepared for change, be prepared for the unexpected, embrace it, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your own way, network more. Don't be afraid to talk, like you said, to strangers.
Joy, I said, what one thing would you tell your 20-something?
Oh, I'm sorry. So there's a lot.
I need to.
You got the juices flowing here.
Woo,
I'm like,
come on
ooh.
now. Woo-hoo.
So I would say change, be prepared for the unexpected, and get out of your own way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, you know, these are all valuable, valuable lessons that you can take through life. The difference is consciously thinking about, how do I show up in that way to make a difference? What am I doing to live my best life ever? Do I really know the best of who I am? Am I chasing to show up in ways that aren't natural for me, that sap my energy? Or am I gravitating to those things that are like, yes, I love doing this. Yes, when you wake up in the morning and you're like, yeah, now don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean I don't care how much you love what you do. There will be those moments that it's like, okay, really? I made this choice, but that doesn't last long. In fact, that's part of what fuels your passion, your desire to want to do it because you love doing it. If you really love doing it, feed it what it needs, the nurturance, the care, well-being is such a powerful gift that we can give to ourselves. You know, I'm thinking about these last few days in Egypt, and it's like, oh yeah, a big woosah moment, you know, where it's like no clock, no time, no nothing. But we wanted to show up for you this evening, ladies, because it matters. And if you showed up at all to be here today, it's because you recognize something in yourself, the leader within you. And maybe you don't know all the ways to get there, but this is a start to begin to collect the little pieces, the little nuggets of knowledge and encouragement and inspiration, the motivation to cause you to get up and want to do life just a little bit differently. You don't have to take it all on at the same time. What's that story? How do you eat an elephant? Anybody? One bite at a time. Come on now. It's just not that difficult when we learn to get out of our own way. When we truly believe when you believe in your heart of hearts that there's something better for you, don't wait for it to come to you. It may pass you by. You know, time waits for none of us. And so what we do matters every minute that we do it. You know, I'm standing here today and you might think, oh, you got it all together. Let me tell you, I have failed. I have fallen. I have said, I'm through. I can't do this anymore. And then there's a ray of hope. There's a spark. There's a sister girlfriend. There's a kind word. There's an opportunity that seems to come from out of nowhere. But that doesn't exist out of nowhere. It comes from somewhere. Look at all the good that you do and the power that you have. Look, these women, if you did nothing else, each of these women drop nuggets. You should have a page full of notes right now. Okay, if you didn't take the notes, you can catch the recording and, you know, get them that way. But either way, spend the time. If you got anything from today, share it. Don't keep it all to yourself. It's free. And remember, Dr. Helen Speaks, Strengths, Resilience, and Leadership comes to you live every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time and 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And tonight from Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, at the Steinbergen Alcazar Resort, we started at 7 o'clock p.m. EET, something new I learned. Nonetheless, you can reach us here on the WinWinWomen.tv network. You can reach us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. You just look for Win Win Women and you can find our shows. It's been great hanging out with you for International Women's Day. Woohoo! Yay! Of course, you should know it's International Women's Day every day. We just take it up a little higher in the month of International Women's Day. Have a great one. We love you.